Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering this week and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Westwood. I'm here today with senior editor David Mark. And David, let's talk about redistricting. There was a big court case in New York in which a congressional map was thrown out. Tell us about that and why that's significant.
Right. This is the process that comes up once every 10 years in which congressional districts are redrawn, reconfigured, and it looked like Democrats were going to have an advantage. They already have an uphill battle holding onto the House, but it looked like state by state they were going to come out on top. However, a big ruling came down this week in New York in which Democrats were scheduled, according to the map, to have a 20 to 4 advantage in the House delegation. That's gotten scuttled, and now it's going to be redrawn by some independent figures. Republicans are going to pick up several seats from this.
You know, Democrats have spent months warning that Republicans were going to abuse this process. It takes place every 10 years after the census. They were going to gerrymander their way into sort of unfair structural advantages in these states. Now that the redistricting process is, well underway or finished in a lot of states, do you see that as being the case?
Unfair has very little to do with politics. Depends whose ox is being gored. But it does look like House Republicans are going to benefit with 3 to 4 net seats out of this, which in a closely fought chamber is really important. There are not that many seats that are really competitive, so every one really counts.
And finally, let's talk about Congressman Madison Cawthorn. He's back in the headlines again this week for another sort of series of scandals, one including bringing a loaded gun to an airport. Do you think that his re-election bid could be in jeopardy because he's gotten so much bad press, or do you think he's still politically safe?
Cawthorn is, of course, quite a character. He's the youngest member of the House at age 26.
Well, that's younger than me. Wow.
Yeah, he's had, we won't even go there. Several scrapes with the law, not just allegedly bringing a loaded gun to the airport. Mm-hmm. There's dash cam video of him getting pulled over by police for not having a license several times over. He's had to appear in court, which is not something that sitting members of Congress usually do. Mm-hmm. Bottom line is he faces a competitive Republican primary in his district. It's out in the western quadrant of North Carolina on May 17th. Problem is, there aren't any challengers who've raised nearly as much money, and according to the rules, if he gets 30% or more, he wins the first round. So there would have to be a really strong competitor to take him out. So far, that looks questionable.
Well, David, thank you so much for being here today. You can get more reporting from David and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.